Well, this is not the kind of video I thought I would ever be making, or at least like this. Let's just get straight into the meat. As I'm recording this, it has been about a week since it was revealed that the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, Scott Cawthon, was giving money to political campaigns, and not decent ones at that. He mostly gave money to the Republican Party, including giving money to former President Donald Trump and Senator Mitch McConnell. Now, let's get one thing out of the way straight off the bat. This video, as you could have guessed, is going to be about politics. More specifically, US politics. So that means that this comment section is bound to be an absolute shit show. However, the only thing I want you to do, whether you're a fan of FNAF or a past one or just an outsider looking in, is be respectful to the other people in the comment section. While yes, this controversy has definitely divided us in the FNAF community, it's still important to treat people as people, no matter how ill-minded you think they are. I'm not fond of how certain people handle this situation too, and we'll get into that, but I'm not going to be an asshole about it and say mean things about them. Treat everyone with respect and dignity. Please. It may be a very hard ask, but you know what? At least I tried. I will disable comments if things get ugly. With that out of the way, let's get into my thoughts. When I first heard the news, I couldn't believe it. It was definitely hard to wrap my head around this at first, especially since it basically came out of fucking nowhere. It honestly and genuinely felt like a slap to the face. I've been a fan of this franchise since literally about day one, since I was 10, and have made content about this franchise over the past 7 years. To see this get revealed was a whirlwind of emotions. Not to mention, this wasn't a little thing. It fucking blew up. It was trending on Twitter. There was literally no way in hell Scott could just ignore this. The resulting rest of the day was spent trying to make sense of what I just heard. And, it was ugly. I felt like I was dissociated from my body at one point. It was pretty bad. However, since we had literally no idea of why these donations were made in the first place, I spent my time waiting. Waiting for what Scott would say about this. I didn't assume the best outcome, and I didn't assume the worst outcome. Whatever the hell was coming next, I had to deal with it. And I was scared. I really was. And a mere 2 days later, I got what would be the make it or break it deal for me. And sadly, it was the latter. Now, first things first, do I think all of this gets rid of all of the good he has done? Hell no. I still firmly believe that Scott is a well-meaning person. He has given so much good to this community, including but not limited to giving millions to charity for genuinely good causes, genuinely caring for his fans, is open-minded to anything about the games, and is very easy to work with, and the best one in my opinion, literally gave fan game creators the opportunity to give their works a chance in the market with physical releases and merch and all of that. That is still, hands down, the best thing he has ever done and, in my opinion, sets an example for future indie developers on how to deal with and support video game fandoms in the internet age. And, not to mention, I still think he really is supportive of all walks of life. So, in general, I do think he is a genuinely nice and caring person, and I really, really do have a lot of respect for him. I do. However, nice doesn't mean good. In the response to the drama, Scott has stated that he supported Trump because of only the economical benefits and the standing up to America's enemies that he promised. And honestly, I would believe him if it wasn't for the fact that these donations to Trump and McConnell were both given in 2019 and 2020, respectively. Hell, even that McConnell one was given in August of 2020, way after the pandemic reached us. And it was also already established how low life these guys and the entire administration at that are by that time. So you can kind of see how this becomes a bit complicated. What gets even more complicated is the sentence after. In the statement, he says, even if there were candidates who have better things to say to the LGBT community directly, I believe that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to those communities than good. I have a hard time believing this. See, here's the thing. I'm bisexual. I've never talked about it before on my channel, but yes, I do like both men and women. And I have seen what Trump and his administration, as well as the Republican Party at large, has done to the LGBTQ plus community at large, especially this past year. And it disgusts me. Seeing the amount of genuine homophobia and transphobia coming from this administration, the way they're using us to make us feel not human, the attacks on us, the bills, everything. It's so upsetting and dehumanizing to see, especially considering that the fact that this was set in stone right when Trump took office. It was all planned. And I have so much genuine hate towards that, along with a myriad of other things the administration did. Oh yeah, by the way, the donations weren't just water under the bridge either. They were both in the thousands, as well as all the other ones he did. They were hefty. They had weight. I'm pretty sure you guys can see the emotions put onto the board. I'm disappointed, I'm upset, and I'm genuinely heartbroken. The one emotion you don't see here is surprise, and there's a reason for that. See, well before this drama, it was already well established that Scott is a very religious guy living in Texas. And if you know anything about America, you would know that those titles aren't pretty titles. They're filled with a lot of stereotypes. Very bad ones at that. However, when I was a fan of this guy, those titles didn't mean anything. I just took the guy for what he was. A nice, supportive, and caring guy that does a lot for us. I didn't think he was perfect, I just took everything at surface level. So, while seeing this did upset me, it didn't really come entirely out of left field at all. The way in which it did, yes, but in general, no. However, going back to what I said about surface level observations and shit like that, let's talk about my decision. It's no secret that all I am, in the grander scheme of everything, is just a fan. I don't know the guy personally. I don't know what he's up to in his personal life. I don't know how he processes stuff, what he thinks daily. I don't know where he gets his information from. I don't know what the guy genuinely believes in besides what I've been told. I don't know shit about that. Saying otherwise would be lying. All I am is just a fan. And that's what's made this process of accepting my decision so much more harder. I want to know what he thinks, how he thinks, what's the exact reasoning behind all of his thinking, why exactly he thought this way. I want to know so much. But, let's be honest, if I were to do that, I would be stalking him. And that is not okay at all in general. I had to take everything at a surface level as a fan. And it hurt so much. But my decision is final. I will no longer be financially supporting Scott. I get it. I hear your groans. I hear your whys. I hear all of the questions you have. I hear all of that. But honestly, at the root of it, I'm genuinely uncomfortable with going forward with supporting this franchise and pretending that my issues with him don't exist. I don't want to lie to myself. I need to accept the truth, no matter how hard that is. And I know he donated so much more to charity and good causes. I saw the graph Kane put out. But the fact of the matter is, he still donated to people I genuinely dislike and gave them more motivation directly to continue to do the awful things that they did. Plus, I personally don't like putting money into politics. It feels weird. Very weird. Listen, the fact of the matter is this. He used the money that I willingly gave him for stuff I just don't support. And that bothers me deeply. Especially when we're talking about someone like Trump, a huge asshole. It's a huge betrayal of trust as a fan, and it sucks going through it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm happy with my decision, no matter how much it hurts. And that would basically be the extent of it, if not for the announcement about Scott retiring. Yes, I did hear about Scott retiring. Am I sad? To a certain degree, yes. I'm sad that he has to leave the thing he genuinely loves working on. That's a hard decision to make just in general. But let's be honest, we all saw it coming, and no, it's not because of the politics. The guy has a wife and 5 children, with a 6th coming along the way. Balancing that and game making is a stressful thing to do, and honestly, I commend him for dealing with the stress for the past 7 years or so. But I mean, retirement was bound to happen, and in all honesty and fairness, I wish him nothing but the best. Truly. However, he also did state that FNAF wasn't over and will be handing it to someone else. First off, whoever's going to handle FNAF, I wish you nothing but the best as well, but also, I still will not be supporting the franchise. See, the main problem I have with this is how the finances will be split up. Sure, whoever is now handling the franchise will get the main big bucks, but also, you can't just ignore the creator of this entire thing. You basically have to give him some of the loyalties, and honestly, I don't care how much the cut is or not. I still feel uncomfortable knowing that the money is still going into his pocket. And even if he gave everything to the new owner of this franchise, which would be super cool of him, the fact of the matter is, I can't look at FNAF the same way anymore, knowing that the creator genuinely broke my trust. Actually, let's explore that a bit more. See, there is a phrase that people believe in that says you can separate art from the artist. And I would agree if it weren't for the fact that art and artist are basically inseparable, especially when we're talking about life-changing pieces of art. And that has shown itself in full effect for the past week. Even if I were to try my best to just enjoy this franchise like I used to, I just can't. Scott had a genuine and heartfelt impact on my life, one that I can't ignore. He introduced me to the friends that I love so deeply. He introduced me to a fandom that took the characters he made and ran wild with them. He introduced me to a lot of inspirations, a lot of cool content creators. He helped me be comfortable with myself. He helped me with how I present myself on YouTube and the internet in general. If I didn't discover him and his franchise, I genuinely don't know where I'd be. This stupid little game about murderous animatronics in a bootleg Chuck E. Cheese restaurant literally introduced me to my future. And to know that all the money I gave him willingly to show my genuine support was being shown to both help and dehumanize what I would later identify as, it fucking hurts. The genuine confusion and anger I have is real. It feels like he's pulling a facade, like he's being two-faced. And it's hard to come to a reasonable conclusion when this rage is at full force. That and the hopeful side of myself telling me that I should just give him a second chance and move on. Logic didn't even come to my mind until the 6th day of processing this. It's hard to deal with something like this. It really is. Not to mention, even before this, I was starting to fall off with the franchise in general. The only thing I really cared about were the animatronics, the characters of this franchise, if you will. I started to lose track of the lore because of the complicated nature of it, and the gameplay was cool and stuff, but the main thing that elicited the most joy was the animatronics. I genuinely love these designs, and hell, I'm gonna say I'm still do. They have such a charm to them. Yeah, they were scary when I was first getting into the franchise, but later on, they lost that. And I know that's also a reason why people left, because it wasn't scary anymore, but I didn't mind that. They were just cool and fun, and sometimes I was genuinely attached to them. Hell, the reason why my persona exists in the first place is because I basically envisioned Bonnie with blue eyes, glasses, and a top hat. And as stupid and simple as that sounds, I saw myself in it. I had genuine attachment to these characters, and they were crucial to discovering myself as a person. That genuine attachment and love just got suddenly and violently pulled out for me. Now, I can't even look at them without getting disappointed. This was genuinely, as Johnny Block said, the final nail in the Scott coffin. To ignore the artist is, to me, to live in denial. living in denial about the things genuinely upsetting you and just going through the motions, holding out hope that this is all just a dream and you'll wake up in the real world. And I don't want to lie to myself. That would just create more problems with myself. So, all this prelude to say, as well as me not financially supporting Scott and FNAF in general, I'm leaving the fandom as well. I know some may call it a stretch, and yeah, maybe it is, but listen, if I even catch a glimpse of them, I'm just reminded of the hurt I feel, so it's better for me to just separate myself fully from this fandom than to keep watching content of the characters themselves. It genuinely, and I'm being completely honest right now, genuinely hurts me to have to do this, but if I don't want my mental state to deteriorate to a degree where I basically can't recover because I'm forcing myself to watch something that triggers me, then I don't want to. Simple as that. I'm sorry to the subscribers who have disappointed, but I want to do what's best for me. Now, will I let go of the friends I've made mainly from this fandom? Fuck no. They're my friends. I'll always love them to death and support whatever the hell they do. And I'll still be there to help out whenever needed. Plus, they all have other interests besides FNAF, so I can still have genuinely good times with them. If they want to continue to support and make content for or based off this franchise, I will respect their decision. Leaving them just for this reason alone would be a very asshole move to do, especially since I really do love them to death and care for them so much. They are not going anywhere, and that is that. There is also another aspect to this that I want to touch on, however, and that's influence. I've already touched on the influence of how the characters affected me and such. However, what about influence that you just can't pass off to the side like that? More specifically, how will my future project and my persona look like now? We'll go ahead and start off with my persona. To be honest, as of right now, I don't hate him. I genuinely don't. I feel like I could separate this guy from the overall look and feel of the FNAF characters without any problem, as that, to me, was just an inspiration of how I wanted them to look, not a direct OC based off of them. I know it is a bit complicated to really comprehend from the outside, but what I'm trying to say is you just can't ignore influence no matter if you like the franchise or not anymore. It will always seep into you in some way. At least that's my view. Plus, it's not like Scott was exposed for, being a fucking pedo or something. If that happened, I wouldn't even be saying all of this. However, I do feel like you could look a bit better. I do have something in mind for a redesign, but I would probably need some help and guidance, as I don't want him to feel so FNAF it makes me uncomfortable. I want an even balance of inspiration and originality. I'll update you guys later on a future video once he's been fully decided, because I do still like the idea of having a character that portrays myself, along with actually showing myself. However, that's not fully addressing the obvious elephant in the room, and that is, what is going to happen to this roommate's AU project I've teased? Well, first off, it's not going anywhere. I don't just want to throw away characters that I've been building for the last 2 years, by the way. This has been in production for a while, just because I'm using FNAF as a way to express them. That would be incredibly stupid, especially given the fact that I've already gotten a team to help me out with this project. What I can do instead, however, is work on redesigns for them, and work them out in a similar way to my persona. Comfortable enough for me to use them and continue the project, and not be reminded of FNAF every time I look at them. So yes, the roommates project is still underway, it's just not going to be an AU at all, given the reasons that I've said. It might take a while, but I still hope all of you are excited. I really want to put my all into this. To say that this past week has been insane would be putting it lightly. I have gone through a lot, and this entire community has gone through a lot too, and I wish nothing but the best for the community even though I'm leaving it. However, the main gripe I've had from all of this is that I just wish it was handled a lot better, in terms of both the public's reaction and Scott's handling as well. I saw both extremes of this controversy while it was taking place, and I have a lot of things to say about it. For the side that immediately called Scott terrible things, doxing him, threatening him, which was mostly Twitter's reaction and not the community's one. Listen, I understand where y'all are coming from. I understand the rage you have. However, have some fucking human decency. Doxing and harassing someone under any circumstance is not okay in the slightest. If anything, you're just as bad, if not worse, than the actual situation at hand. However, the side that's praising Scott by saying he did no wrong and that this is just his political view, it's not as easy as that. It's a matter of whether or not people like me get to fucking live a normal life. And we have a right to be pissed off about this entire thing. And I know that this community isn't just in America and is very much a global community and doesn't quite understand the extent, but it's still genuinely dehumanizing to see. All I ask from all of you, from this side only, is to just do more research. That's literally all I ask. That isn't to say all of the community who supports Scott immediately falls under this category. If you think you should still support Scott and or the FNAF community, even after you've taken time to process this information and want to give him a genuine second chance, whether LGBTQ plus or not, then that's fine. You're entirely entitled to your own opinion, and I am not here to sway it at all. However, there's a difference between coming to a logical conclusion and toxicity, and idolizing someone falls under that second category. Don't expect people you look up to be perfect. They aren't. And if you fall under this spell, you'll end up defending them in an appropriate place. I feel like this should be the main thing to take away from all of this. However, I also wish that Scott would have looked into this deeper instead of going with the loud minority who framed this as a cancellation of Scott, because that is what he said near the end of his statement. If I get canceled, then I get canceled. And I understand all who framed it as such. It did seem like a genuine cancellation of Scott. But in reality, a good portion of the community who were pissed when this information first came out wanted answers, not a deplatform of the man, including me. And technically we did get that. But it was more of a panic response than an in-depth one, especially given how quick it was. Sure, he did explain his reasons why he supported the people he did, and in general, the response was a very well-constructed one, and I don't think he could have done any better even if he tried, but it left us with so many unanswered questions. Did he know about the homophobia and transphobia that was clearly apparent in the administration? Did he know about the racism? Did he know about how bad these guys truly were? All of this shit we don't know. Honestly, if the world was perfect, this wouldn't have been such a big deal. We would have given our reasons as to why we're concerned. Scott could have taken however long he could to really think about who he was supporting and what his morals in life are, and then give us a statement addressing the real issues we have. At that point, I would be more inclined to give him a chance. But since he didn't, I'm just left feeling betrayed, confused, and uncertain. I really, really do wish that all of this was handled so much better than it was. But what we get is what we get. And we will all make of what we have as we will. And I just have to accept that. Oh yeah, and for all the people throwing around the narrative that Twitter made Scott retire, please stop. He retired because he had a family to take care of. Sure, this whole thing might have sped up the process, but it was bound to happen sometime anyway. Do not blame Twitter for this. Please. But even after all of this, even after all of what I went through, what my friends went through, what the community at large went through, this part of my life deserves a genuine and heartfelt goodbye. And I will deliver that. First off, thank you to the community at large. You guys have seriously made an undeniable and influential impact on me, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be the person I am today. You guys will always have a special place in my heart. Thank you to Markiplier, the one who introduced me to the franchise in the first place. Thank you to Rabbi99 for being the first ever mainly FNAF content creator I ever watched. I know he doesn't have the best track record, but I gotta respect the man. He did so much for me. Thank you so much. Thank you to ETH Goes Boom for making me fall in love with giving FNAF characters a sense of relatability and personality. Thank you to the entire FNAF SFM community for giving me animations I know I will never forget. People like Xbox Gamer K, Dajan, Mr. Brano, Dr. Dash, Sino, Spring War, TK, Gold Guy 0710, Crystal 7582, Derpy Horse 4, Cuphead 1000, Sandwiching Around, and so many others I cannot remember off the top of my head. You gave me something to either get immersed in or to just laugh my ass off to and have a good time. Thank you all so much. Your impact will never, ever be forgotten. Thank you to Dako for being such a memorable figure in the entire community. I will never forget the happiness that FNAF meme review gave me, along with just you in general. I love you, man. Thank you to Squimpus McGrimpus for giving us a new medium for FNAF content for the last year I was around. You're a genuine legend, my G. Respect. Thank you to the countless amount of fan artists that I've followed over the last couple of years. And last but certainly not least, thank you to my friends that I've met through this fandom. I love having you guys in my life so much. Thank you for being there for me. Seriously. And to finish this whole entire thing off, thank you, Scott. I don't know where I'd be if you didn't create the franchise that shaped the way I am today. I know I might no longer be a fan of yours, but you have my deepest respect, and nothing can change that. Thank you so much. This isn't the goodbye I wanted. At all. I wanted a more proper send-off. I wanted more of a conclusion. Not just in the franchise, but just in general. If this whole controversy didn't happen and he sent out the post that he said he was going to retire on his website nonetheless, that would have been a much happier conclusion. It would have been sad, but I would have had no resentment. Instead, I'm left feeling genuinely upset. I'm left feeling betrayed. I'm left feeling confused. I'm left feeling bittersweet. I'm left with all these happy memories, while still not tainted by what he's done, getting no proper conclusion. But I'm just gonna have to accept that. Not everything that goes the way you want it to, and I definitely know that. I just, wanted something more than just a bittersweet goodbye. But that's why I have to close this chapter out. Am I going to completely erase the videos I made that have FNAF as the main topic? No. I am going to keep them up. FNAF was an undeniable part of the channel, and to erase them would be to erase my history. However, this is officially the end of an era, and I hope you guys can stick around for what I plan next for the channel, if you are watching this all the way to the end anyway. For now, I'll take it easy for the next couple of days as I try to figure out what to do with my channel after this. But until then, I'll see you later. Thank you, Scott.
Hello, this is Mega Bonnie Fan 1987, and welcome to his channel. Bruh!
I got the Freddy Files. It was at my school's book fair.
The appearance: a bluish